So in holographic breathing, or in any breathing, the ribs are lifting on the in-breath and they're dropping on the out-breath. And as they lift, that increases the area in the chest. But what is pulling them up is the muscles are shortening, and they're shortening through the top ribs, from the sternum up to the cranium and up into the spine, but also it's connecting to the hyoid bone and jaw. So as the muscle lifts to lift up the chest, this muscle from the top of the sternum to the hyoid bone also shortens and the jaw is relaxed. The jaw will open. So that is what happens in holographic breathing. As we breathe in and chest is lifting, this muscle is shortening at the same time. That is dropping down the jaw. Now I'm going to show that with this model. This is my pink Terminator. Whoops, it's broken. Okay, so here we have the muscles, or the two muscles that rise from the top of the sternum and the upper ribs and collarbones here. And as all these ribs are lifting, this is also shortening. But if the jaw is relaxed, what happens is, breathing in, all the muscles shorten and the jaw opens, as does in holographic breathing. All those ribs drop down and all the muscles relax and lengthen, and the jaw closes. So you get this effect: breathing in, the jaw is naturally opening. Breathing out, the jaw is naturally closing. And this is having to balance in these back muscles that are coming up to the back of the occiput. So there's this pull through the whole cranium, through the front of the face, through the muscles down this way, and there's this whole pull through the occiput, down through all these muscles coming down from the occiput to the back and the spine. They're balancing front to back to lift up the ribs. And if the face is allowed to engage in that, and the cranium is allowed to engage in that, what will happen is breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Now along with that, the lips are closed. Even though the jaw is open, the lips are closed. The tongue's on the roof of the mouth. So it refers through the whole face and to the cranium. And it starts this, all of the bones of the face and the cranium starting to articulate with the breath. It's not just the jaw moving. It brings into this effect that all of the bones in the face and cranium are breathing. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So I'm just going to go through this fairly quickly. You're not meant to have to remember it all. It's just getting a general idea of what I'm talking about. So there is a circular movement, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. So it's this way, through the, well, not through the midline, but it's through the cranium this way. And there's also an expansion. People can feel this expansion of the sides of the cranium, of the sides of the jaw. People can feel that breathing in, breathing out. But people think of that as that they're doing that. They're pulling out somehow the sides of the cranium and sides of the jaw and sides of the face. But for me, that is because the shortening and lengthening of the body and face is edited out of our experience. For me, as this pulls this way, there's a pressure towards the middle, and that causes the middle to expand on the in-breath and to contract. Even though we feel we're doing that and it feels easy, there's a contraction into the middle, like diamond pushing into the middle, and as it pushes into the middle, expands sideways. So I made a model to show that. So here we've got, see the skull, at the chin, the jaw. This is the jaw here. This is the cranium, and it's got this bit of elastic around it. So pulling down at the front, and so doing this, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Now, if you look, I'll put this thing at the side. Notice what happens as it turns. Breathing in, see how it's expanding to the sides, and that red bit is getting closer to the skull. Breathing out, the skull is narrowing, and the red bit moves away. So breathing in, see how it's pulling that in and the whole skull is widening. Breathing out. So what is happening, you've got this bit of elastic, and as it's stretching around the center line, that's automatically pulling it into the areas of the TMJs and the mastoid process. And that pressure, there's nowhere for it to go, so it pushes it out sideways. Breathing in, all expanding. Breathing out. So I'm not pulling it out, the pressure to the center is pulling it out. And you can see it underneath. I put this at the top here. Breathing in, so it all expands and that red bit drops. Breathing out, the red bit rises. So that is a diagram showing you that, it feels like, oh yeah, we're just doing that and it feels really easy. But there's this pressure that's primary, that's causing the expansion that we don't feel, and is hard to be with. It's not an easy thing teaching the shortening, because it is a pressure, and to feel a pressure and a contraction as you're breathing in is kind of counterproductive, because the breath is, oh, everything's expanding, but physiologically not so. With the jaw, people sense it, the jaw breathe, and I couldn't figure it out for ages, because I could feel this massive opening of the jaw and closing of it, and I thought, well, there's no muscles here pulling the jaw out to get that experience of it coming outside. So I'm thinking, how's that working? And in the end, I figured it out. It's the same as the pelvis. So here we have a jaw. So it's the chin, it's the TMJs. You've got the hyoid here, and you've got the muscles coming down to the sternum, and then the I've forgotten the name, the muscle. This is the zygomatic arch and the masticating muscles coming up. Now what happens is this pulls, the jaw slightly opens on the in-breath, and then rather than it keep on opening, it balances. The tension in the muscles below the jaw balances with the tension above the jaw. The jaw automatically does that. And so it will stay in the same place, but as the breath comes in, it can get a bigger tension underneath, and that's automatically balanced above. So it pulls down, but is balanced here. Now, if you look what happens underneath, so you've got the sides of this blue behind. Let me get it on me where it's red. So you can see the sides of the jaw there. Now, as it pulls down, breathing in, can you see that expanding? Breathing out, contracting. So as it shortens front to back, it causes it to expand. As it lengthens front to back, it causes it to narrow. So it's breathing in, breathing out. So there's this big feeling of an expansion, but what is causing that is the pressure in the muscles and a contraction. So that is what we're working with, and that is contrary to people's natural experience of how they breathe. So we're bringing something new to that arena. Now, even last time when I tried to show this, the internet, and when I was editing it, this next bit where I show the spine, every time I showed it 3 or 4 times, every time I came to the bit with the spine shortening, the internet went out and the picture went. So there's some karma behind it, because you know the internet doesn't even want me to show it to people. So now there are new people here, so I'll send out the video where I explain this in far more depth. So here we have a spine with, these are the ribs, and there's muscles between all of the vertebrae, between all of the ribs. This is from the lower ribs to the top of the pelvis. There's the quadratus muscles coming down here. There's also the psoas muscles. These are all tightening. All of these muscles are tightening on the in-breath. They pull the ribs together, or they put a tension between them. And between every vertebrae, you've got a soft cushion, a disc. For me, these shorten as the pressure, and it's a strong pressure. It's the whole pressure of the breath. The spine shortens. Now, okay, if you feel that differently, that is fine. But it's worth just trying it. Now, because you can't see much, I put this red thing at the top so you can see the top vertebrae moving away from the red thing. So as we breathe in, that all shortens. Can you see the red bit rising up as they shorten away from each other? Breathing in, it all shortens. As all of those muscles condense, it shortens. Breathing out, they all lengthen. Breathing in, shortens. Breathing out, lengthens. Okay, now again I will stress this is according to me. If you are a therapist and you see it and do it in a different way, it's fine. If you want to try this, it's also fine. So there is a shortening, but this can, I've still got one bit of hose, this can get confusing because it shortens within the spine. For me, okay, for me, it shortens within, and craniosacral therapy also say the spine shortens within itself on the in-breath, lengthens within itself on the out-breath. So in that one, it is the same as craniosacral therapy, but I know different. But the spine itself is bent, and as those muscles tauten, it straightens the spine. So we sit taller because it takes the bends out the spine. So it's like breathing in, breathing out. So you've got to be careful of your language here, because the spine is, you're getting taller, so the spine's length is longer, elongating, but this bit of tube isn't getting any longer. Even if you tie a knot in it, that tube is the same length. But if it's not, it's longer that way. But within it, so as it straightens, as it tenses, the spine will lengthen, or it will be longer top to bottom. But the actual within the spine, between the vertebrae, it's staying the same length. And the more what I'm talking about is the actual intrinsic length within the spine. Maybe. But I experienced it this, maybe it's not, but maybe it's breathing in, condensing on the in-breath, breathing out, lengthening. And I can feel the energy changing as I show that. Where's the pelvis? See, I've blown the balloon up. With the abdomen, we feel the abdomen expanding. But what's actually happening, the top diaphragm is pulling down, the bottom diaphragm is holding it, or for me it's actually tightening, and they're lifting together, breathing in. There's a shortening top to bottom that causes the expansion. There's a lengthening top to bottom that is causing the narrowing. So even though we feel it as an expansion. What is causing that expansion is a tightening and pressure in the muscles. And I can feel the energy changing. People, even though people aren't doing it, people are taking on board the potential of a different quality of breathing. And I'm not saying it's something to do all the time, but to deal with birth, we have to at least try to do that. Because also, you think of this as the uterus. When the contractions start, shortening top to bottom, and there may be some change, but once the waters are broken, or even before the waters are broken, the volume inside will stay the same. Contraction, shortening top to bottom to push the baby out, but it's not just going to fly out, so there's a pressure and there's an expansion to the sides. And when the mother's diaphragm is dropping, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So we're going to be the baby. So there's that experience of shortening and widening. Then in the last lung one, we didn't go down as a baby, we went down upright. But people seem to enjoy it. When we were just doing the wings opening and closing in the first meditation, people were getting a little bit spacing out and finding that hard. But in the second meditation, when we included the diaphragm, which runs down the sacrum right through to the pubic arch, that puts attention forwards to back, so it's like a circle, and as it pushes forwards to back, there's the expansion sideways. And as soon as we started doing that, everyone came much more into their bodies, and afterwards said they enjoyed it. So that was good news to me, because if you can feel that shortening and lengthening horizontally, you may also feel it in the body and in the spine. Now, in cranial sacral therapy, it's more this. It's the wings move, and you can do that without any pressure because it's just a lever. The wings can move out, but that brings the sit bones in. When I do holographic breathing, I definitely feel the sit bones opening on the in-breath, closing on the out, and the wings opening on the in-breath, closing on the out-breath. Now the forwards to back this way will produce an opening through the whole pelvis on the in-breath and a closing on the out-breath. But also something we did, I'm not sure where the muscles go, I should have looked, but from the sit bones they're coming out, I think it's the inside of the bone here. So also for the muscles from the sit bones to the legs on the in-breath will be pulling the sit bones out on the in-breath as well. So you get both, and you get, rather than just a lever or rotation and a movement in the joints, you get a flexing of the bone. You get the dynamic of the bone bending in different directions, and it has a potency and a power to it. So sorry if I'm leaving people behind. Just let the words go through you if you're passing out or it's too much information. But I just want to show this before we go into. Now I'm going to apologize, it's a female pelvis, I'm going to apologize in advance for what it's about to receive. Also, what you've got from the, I think it joins towards the back of the I don't know what it's called, the leg bone, hip bone's connected to the leg bone. You've got the psoas muscle, and it comes up through these holes here. So what you've got is the psoas muscle coming up here, the psoas muscle coming up here, and they're bent, and they join to the spine at the back, and they join to the inside back of the leg bones. But as they straighten, as those muscles tauten and straighten, then that's opening the pelvis top to bottom. As they relax, it's bringing them back in, because the muscles bend, but as they straighten, you get this expand. These are big, strong muscles. Breathing in, it's a shortening to cause an expansion. Breathing out, it's a lengthening to cause a narrowing. So you get this opening out to the sides, top and bottom, on the in-breath. Breathing out, close. Now, when we're giving birth, well, when the women are giving birth, you've also got the baby and the baby's head coming down. So it's, you know, it's good that the wings open when it's in the wings on the in-breath, but also when the baby's engaged and coming down through the sit bones, you want them to, you know, you want to be able to breathe in and get this really deep earth energy opening on the in-breath. You know, this was really the energy when I meditated before, was this movement and this energy in the sit bones, opening on the in-breath, closing on the out-breath. Now, that was a lot of different things I was showing you there, and I hope it didn't knock you out too bad, and you can watch the video. But I made those models, so you're going to have to listen to it. Oh, I've got a present. 1 minute. There we go. It's not a starship, it's a clitoris. I've got a 3D clitoris. So also, as we're giving birth, that's the head, or whatever it's called. My brain's gone today, I'm sorry. But also the baby is coming down here, and this diamond we did with the yellow wave, you've got the bottom part of the diamond to the coccyx here, opening and closing as the baby's head is coming through the clitoris. So the same nerves that produce pleasure in sex or whatever you're doing, the same nerves that can cause pain in birth, but if you're activating this breath and you're activating the energies, you can also have like an ecstatic birth. So you've got a pelvis, now obviously the baby's going to be much smaller than this, but I haven't got a baby, so never get an adjustable pelvis, they just fall apart. So the baby's head is coming in, let's do it that way, it's normally to this side, it's coming in facing, in the actual birth it's going down to facing into the sacrum there, but to start off with it's slightly to the side, and then as it engages and it comes face on, so you upside down facing into your own sacrum is where you're going, and that goes down through the sacrum, through the pelvis, and it is kind of the top back of the head is coming out through here, so the face is here, the top back is crowning here, and then when the baby's head is out, it turns, well, it'll turn this way so that the shoulder can come out through this gap here, and that drops, and the other shoulder can come out through the back, and then the whole baby can come out. So we're going to drop down into our own pelvis. And as we're breathing, that's when we drop down vertically as we did last time, that doesn't so strongly bring you into birth. It does a bit, but when you drop down head first and front to back, so your face is facing towards the sacrum and the back of your head is facing towards the pubic arch, that instigates the experience that you're giving birth in your own pelvis and you're being born as the baby. And it also, so what you start getting is, as the more strongly you start feeling this expansion of the pelvis and shortening back to front and then narrowing and lengthening, and that corresponds exactly as the pelvis is expanding top and bottom, your cranium in it is expanding top and bottom. So the birth, this is one of the reasons I think that the births become pain-free, is that women naturally start breathing and naturally their pelvis starts breathing in the birth, and it's in line with the breath that's already in the baby. So as this is expanding to the sides, same time, you as a baby, your cranium is expanding to the sides. Breathing out, this is contracting, your cranium is contracting. As this is shortening front to back on the in-breath, your cranium is shortening front to back on the in-breath. As this is lengthening front to back on the out-breath, your cranium is front to back. So there's the experience horizontally, but there's also the experience lengthwise. You've got the whole uterus pulling down, and then this is more in the top of the head, shortening top to bottom and everything expanding, lengthening top to bottom and everything is narrowing. So you get a lot of pressure in birth. But if you learn this where breathing, that the shortening is causing the expansion, then you don't have to feel a contraction as a contraction. You can feel the contraction as a contraction, or you can feel it as the expansion that it's creating. And for me, one of the biggest undermining things is birth is the word contraction, because then people are going in with this idea, oh, everything's contracting, whereas that contraction is part of an expansion. Better word, I don't know what, but something that would include both of that. So it looks like I've knocked everybody out. We're going to have just a short break for, and I'm sorry it's gone on too long, but I just really felt to give that physical information of how it works.